and welcome back to my channel. So I haven't done a story time in like 2 weeks, and I've already did the whole like atheist questions and things like that. So I figured I would just go ahead and finish this roundabout thing with how I became an atheist, my road to atheism, and how I'm pretty confident in it and it doesn't bother me anymore. So I'm gonna answer a couple of like kind of like questions, and then I'm going to tell you like how it started and where I ended up. Okay. So I was a pretty staunch Christian. I was raised in it. I was raised in the IBF, Independent Fundamentalist Baptist. IFB, sorry. IFB, not IBF. Sounds like, okay, sorry. I screwed that up. But I was raised in basically the IFB, Independent Fundamentalist Baptist. Is what it is. I was pretty firm believer in that all the way from like 5 to 16. And I was going to a church that belonged to my then boyfriend, and I was in their Awanas class, and their youth pastor already didn't like me. I didn't like him. He was kind of a jerk, and he liked to do stupid stuff. Like, I'm dyslexic. I have a really, really hard time reading things out loud. It makes me very uncomfortable, and I hate it. And he knew that I hated it. And every chance he got, he would force me into reading a section of the Bible. I'd be like, I'm not comfortable, I don't want to do it. And he would be like, you have to, or you have to get out. And I knew that it was aimed strictly at me because other people could get out of it. He was a jerk. And I just want to put that in there. It doesn't have anything to do with the actual story. I just wanted to vent that a little bit. But, yeah. So, when we were in our Awanas class, one day I posed one question, a question that changed my whole world. And I'm going to explain to you how it changed my whole world. Okay, so we were reading, I don't even remember what chapter it was, but we were reading something, and somehow or another, the question about what happens to people who have never been proselytized to, that have never heard about the Word of God. What happens to their souls? What happens to children's souls who, haven't had a chance to understand that? And his reaction, without even blinking, without even thinking about it, was, they go to hell. Now, I am not the kind of person that's going to sit back and take that answer because I disagreed with it. So I asked him why. And he said, because if you don't believe in Jesus, no matter what, there's somehow or another you should just know, and you're going to hell, and you should worry about your own soul and to stop asking questions. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to take that answer, but I'm going to shut up for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go home and I'm going to read my own Bible from cover to cover, and I'm going to get the answers for myself, because clearly you are not a man of God and you are not going to give me straight answers. You are just one of those other false, judgmental, creepy people. And so I started from the beginning, Genesis to Revelations. It took me about a year, but I read the whole Bible. Now, it didn't take the whole Bible to turn me into an atheist. Well, it wasn't even an atheist at that point, an agnostic. So I got halfway through it and I realized that this made no sense. That even in the first couple of chapters, it contradicted itself. It talked about things like the fermentation, the layer of water above. Yeah. If anyone who knows what I'm talking about without me having to go into great detail. And that made no sense to me. I knew that it just didn't make sense science-wise. So I was like, And then I started to question the Earth age, because I was taught that it is 6,000 years old, which we all know it is not. And I was like, well, I was always taught that time for us is very different from time for God. So it could be, a million years for us. Maybe it was a day for him. And you can see where I'm trying to justify this as I'm going through. And the more things I read, the more I try to justify. And we get to certain other things like the story of Lot and him having sex with his own daughters. And I'm like, this, no. I mean, I think it was pretty much, by the time I got to Lot, I think I was pretty much done. But yeah, so then I started to be like, maybe the Bible is just a story. It's kind of like fables to teach you lessons, and God is real. Maybe. And I started, at that point, I was probably about 18, and my sister had gone through, and she had started going to college, and she had done some religious studies, and I was looking into that and looking into other religions. And I was like, well, there's so many religions out there. Maybe there is a God. It's just not the God we think it is. So I became agnostic, and I was like, I can live with being agnostic. And then I hit my 20s and I was like, yeah, I don't think anyone actually knows anything about any of it. None of it makes sense. None of it, it's just plagiarized versions of it's just plagiarized different versions. It doesn't make any sense. So I went from being pretty much agnostic to an agnostic atheist, meaning that I do not believe that there is a God, but I'm not going to completely discount it. But it all started with me reading the Bible. The Bible is, I highly encourage anyone in my family actually to read the Bible. I'm like, just read it. I bought my mom several because I'm pretty sure if you read the Bible and you read it through and through and you don't like just cherry pick verses and do things like that, I'm pretty sure it'll make you an atheist too. I'm just saying, it doesn't make sense. It's extremely violent. It is extremely harsh to women. It devalues them. It makes them property. And none of these things I am willing to accept. None of these things are, it doesn't make sense. If it doesn't make sense and you can't back it up and you have zero proof and you're asking me to go on faith, it just doesn't work for me anymore. And one simple question made me an atheist. And I will see you